All right, ladies and gentlemen, Christian Hannah Horror here today with the one and only Pizowell. Now, before we get started, Pizowell to me is like one of the true pioneers of what we do on YouTube. I've been watching this guy for a long time. He's definitely one of my inspirations for just getting me in gear and doing this and showing me that, hey, there is people out there that are just like us that love horror, live it, breathe it, and love it. So I want to say welcome. And Pizzow, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you for that very kind introduction. I don't know if I'm interview worthy, but yeah, well,
My people, which bro, like my audience, bro, and you know this, my audience is your audience. People that watch me surely watch you. So I got a lot of people excited about this, and we're gonna get this going. I've got some questions for you, man, that I think a lot of people would love to know, and we'll start this off right here. In any interview, I think it's the right thing to do to basically just start it from the beginning. So my question, first question is like, what are the roots of your love for horror? Well, what rang your bell, so to speak?
mm, I don't know. That's a good question. That's something I've thought about. Like, what was it about horror movies that kind of drew me to them? I don't know. One of my I have two very early memories that both involve horror movies. The first one is watching Halloween 2 with my mother on the couch. Little kid, I remember I was kind of leaning into my mother while we were watching it. Wasn't really scared, as I recall. And then the part where Ben Tramer gets hit in the mask, gets hit by the car, and is pinned up against the van, and the car explodes, and he's burned to death.
Right.
That I was shocked. That like shocked me. I remember being like not scared or I don't know if shocked is even the right word. I think I was kind of, I don't know, maybe even like exhilarated, but I just remember that sticks out to me. And a funny story with that, that night, I apparently I was too afraid to sleep alone. So I asked mom if I could sleep with her. And she was like, yeah, sure, whatever. She let me watch this horror movie. So she probably felt bad. And at some point during the night, our big, huge yellow cat named Morris, named after the Friskies spokes cat. This cat was enormous.
Yeah.
Jumped up on the bed, right on mom's legs. She said that she grabbed me, pulled me to her, and screamed as loud as she could in my ear, thinking that Michael Myers was there to get her. And I didn't budge. I didn't peep. I didn't wake up. She was like, I have no idea how you slept through that. She said, I grabbed you, I pulled you to me, and I screamed as loud as I could right in your ear, and I didn't even budge.
Oh, man.
Um, my other One of my other earliest memories associated with horror was the video store. And it's probably the very first time I was taken to the video store by my mother. I somehow found myself standing in front of the horror section and just being I'd love to have seen like a picture of myself staring at those VHS box cover arts, because I'm sure
Right.
my jaw was probably on the floor. Yeah, I vividly remember the Evil Dead 2, the evil, with the skull and the eyes, and of course Evil Dead with the woman being pulled through the floor. There was something about that artwork that just I don't know, it just drew me right in. I was fascinated by it. I don't think I was ever scared. I was just fascinated by it. I guess I was just I don't know, just a morbid kid. I don't know. I get which who became a morbid adult. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's something about horror fans like I don't know. I guess there's just something in us, that does like the dark side. I guess I don't know.
That's the thing. That's the thing about horror too. To me, it's like I'm looking at what you've got right now. I just see, to me, that's art behind you. I see it looks like it's either Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead right there. You got the Halloween behind you. There's like a whole package to horror with the art of everything, and there's an element to it that you don't get with comedy movies and things like that. Sure, they all have their thing. There's something about horror that there's this total package to the whole, especially the vintage in the 70s and 80s, that especially what you're talking about. There's this art to it that that's one of my favorite things about it. That's why, I've got posters everywhere, just to say like you do. And there's something so artful about that I love. And video stores for sure is one of my, you know, I'm not too much younger than you, so I know I have my Blockbuster cards and everything still, and that's a memory that, it's a shame that people now will just,
Yeah, I tell that to the younger horror fans that I talk to, like, I kind of I envy you in one way because you're going to be able to experience all these great movies for the first time, but at the same time you've missed out on a huge, I guess it's kind of like what, the drive-in aficionados felt about the, our generation, the VHS generation. You're missing out. But there was something about the video store, and I don't know. There was just something about the video store that will just never be. Um, I don't know. We truly lost something when the
absolutely.
video stores went kaput.
Absolutely, that experience, man. So let's kind of change gears now. So years later, this thing called YouTube comes out, and you, just like everybody else, you stumble across it, and then, can you recall whether it be one experience or experiences that kind of opened your eyes to there being a world out there for horror fans to connect and share their love of movies and things like that? Was there a certain person maybe, or a couple people, or what can you recall? I'd love to find out, because that guy to me, like, he's a cool dude. Like, it's not just weird people that like horror movies. So who are your people? Who was your Pizowell?
It's that's a good question. I don't remember how I first got turned on to YouTube, to be honest. I'm sure it had to be through Dead Pit. It had to be through Dead Pit.
Right. I
Because
remember.
at that time I think I was still somebody who got most of my, horror news. I was somebody who checked, like, Bloody Disgusting every day and Arrow in the Head every day, and the horror websites every day to see what news there was. When is this movie coming out, or whatever the hot horror gossip or news was.
Right.
And I think it was through Arrow in the Head that I got directed to Dead Pit's website, and I'm sure it was through them that I discovered YouTube. And in the beginning, it was like I had no idea. I don't know if, I mean, I know YouTube's grown so much since, like, 2007, but at the time there just seemed like this really small, or I guess maybe I was just so unaware of how huge it was, but um, I was sort of caught up in the horror community of, like, I loved Dead Pit, everything that they did. My buddy Barry, Endurance Productions, his channel, Rajo Magnifico. Let's see, there were a couple of others. Gosh, I'm trying to think. There was one guy called, oh man, Jara Shut, and he did really cool videos, and he's disappeared. I'm not sure exactly what happened. A lot of these channels aren't even around anymore.
Right.
Um, and I don't know, for some reason I was like, hey, let me throw my 2 cents into the mix, because I thought it was such a small community. I would just be making videos for these 5 or 10 people. Like, we would just be sharing our thoughts on movies or whatever. I had no idea how huge it was. And that was how I started. I mean, I had what was interesting was, my mother won a camera off of, like, the Game Show Network, and she gave it to me, and that became that really probably is what started me on YouTube, was the fact. Oh, we lost Christian. Um, well, we've lost Christian. I'll wait for him to return. I think he'll be able to jump back on. But let me see who's in the chat. William Gonzalez, what's up? How are you? Slasher. Oh, there you are. You're back. I was just saying hello to some people in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Slasher 101, how are you? Michael Voorhees fan 1982, how are you? The camera, that little crappy camera, and I've still got it somewhere. that was really what kind of, because I was like, okay, I've got this camera now, I can shoot. I remember I didn't have a tripod. I just stacked up DVDs in front of my computer until it was at a height that I thought was perfect.
I remember
So
that.
yeah, so that's how I started. And before I knew it, it was like, wow, I've got 100 subscribers, and oh wow, now I've got 200 subscribers and 300. I remember when I hit 700 subscribers, I thought to myself, wow, I'm huge. You know what I
Right.
mean? I was like, oh my God, 700 people have subscribed. 700 people like to hear me blather on about movies. This is, I'm like huge. I think at that point was like when I realized like, wow, I'm kind of reaching people, which was odd. Like people were, you know, discovering me and liking what I was doing. And I'm continually sort of taken aback by um, the reach of this. Like
Right.
I get messages from people all the time from all over the world, really nice, awesome messages, saying like, hey, I stumbled across your review of this movie and I'd never heard of it and I watched it and now I love it. Or, I've had some people say, even stuff like that just absolutely blows me away. Like, I recently lost a family member and your videos have helped me get through this hard time. And, I had one guy say, I deal with pain on a continuous basis, but your videos help me. And I'm thinking, wow, my video, how? It's I don't know, it really kind of, because I'm just sitting in my man cave talking about a movie, yet it has the ability to reach so many people and affect so many people and impact so many people in a
Absolutely.
positive way that it's really something to think about. But yeah, the yeah, I've been lucky, I think, in that, I've been able to grow at a slow but steady pace. And I've got a really great group of people who, watch every video of mine and comment on every video of mine and are very supportive. And I'm very thankful for them.
Absolutely. So here's my next question, because we're going to kind of switch gears, and you've touched on this in a video before, but I don't know if that was on your second channel you used to do or not. And listen, because this is kind of in my life, your YouTube channel and your personal life coexist. And what I mean by that is, do you like not necessarily hide it, but do you not go out of your way? For instance, like people at work, some guy at work found out about my YouTube channel. He's a friend of mine, and all of a sudden now everybody sees me and says, "What's up, Christian Hannah Horror?" And I it's not that I'm embarrassed, but it's just I don't know. I don't go out of my way to let people know. And I wonder, especially at the rate that you've grown, do the two coexist now, or is there still kind of this kind of wall where you have this kind of thing going on in this life, and then your personal life, you're not the YouTube guy.
That's another great question. And for the longest time, I really tried to keep the two separate. I tried to keep the two separate as much as I possibly could. And my girlfriend used to give me crap because I would want to keep them sick, because she'd be like, well, why don't you tell people? Why don't you tell people they like your videos or stuff? And I'd be like, no, no, no. I just don't know if they'd, I
Right.
don't know if they, I don't know if they'd get it. You know what I mean? I don't know how it would impact my professional career. I don't know how, because horror movies are not everybody's cup of tea, of course. And if you're talking about, I don't know, a lot of people that I work with, they know I'm a big horror fan. That's certainly not a secret. That's never been a secret,
Right.
but they don't know about this. Now, some of them do. I remember I had one of my coworkers found I've had a couple of coworkers find my videos, but one coworker, this was years ago, found one of my videos and liked my Pizowell Facebook page. And I saw that notification and I was like, oh my God, everybody's going to know now. Oh my God. I was just thinking like, now it's going to get out. Everybody's going to, and really the, the funny thing is, if people do know, the coworkers who do know don't care. It's not like something that's brought up in conversation, or like so some friends of mine who I have personal relationships with, they just think it's cool that I have this platform and this following and that I can talk about movies, and they just think it's cool. And I still do sort of skirt that line between the YouTube life and the personal life as much as I can. But I think I'm more open to it now, because I think most people would just be like, that's, yeah, I that's not out of the realm of what I would expect him to do in his free time. So I
Right.
mean, yeah, I don't think it'd be too shocking to people. I
Yeah.
think
So,
most people would probably find it quite funny, actually.
and I felt the same way. It's almost like I felt like I don't know. It's like I wasn't embarrassed, but it's just like you never know what people are gonna say or think, and it's just like, hey, I don't know, but luckily everybody at work has been good, and I tell them to watch my videos too now. So, and I always tell them, hey, let those ads play through whenever they do play up.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
so, okay. So here's my next question, and you've touched on this, but I'd like you to go over this with some people who maybe didn't see the video. Let's just talk about like the YouTube channel in general. Like, bro, like from the first day you started till now, there's obviously been some changes. Some
Mhm.
maybe you think are good, and some maybe you absolutely can't stand. It's getting harder and harder to monetize any kind of video. You could put a camera on a blank wall, and they're
Mhm.
getting flags. It's getting flagged these days. So,
Mhm.
what are the differences compared from back then, from the day one to Pizowell almost 10 years later, and where do you see the site heading? What's the next 5 years for us?
Oh goodness, I don't honestly, the next 5 years, I don't know. I mean, it's very there's been a lot of YouTube drama over the years, and everything sort of, everybody got whatever the drama is, everybody's like, oh, this is the end. This is the end of YouTube. But there's, it always, a month or two later, it goes away.
Right.
Now, the whole thing with, the adpocalypse and how, you know, uh, stringent, the sort of YouTube censorship is, and not just how stringent it is, but how broken that whole system is. Um, I don't, I mean, I don't know. Uh, this is clearly not an issue that's just going to go away. Um, and YouTube's response to it is their usual, just sort of like, well, we created this algorithm and it's doing all the work, but the algorithm's broken. Well, sorry. Um,
Pretty much.
and back in the day, I mean, it was very, uh, and I mean, I go all the way back to long before there was a such thing as monetization. So I mean, there was YouTube was far more, put it that when once Google got their hands on YouTube, it seemed like there was like a change every month. They changed the user interface. They changed the layout. They made things more difficult to access. Um, I'm sure you've seen the meme where it's like, 2007 YouTube was for creators by creators. 2017 YouTube is now by creators. Like by creators. Bye bye.
Right. Yes, I have seen that.
Um, that's kind of the truth. I mean, Google getting involved did open up a lot of possibilities for people to be able to make money from YouTube, and some people who were, very lucky and have very big channels to be able to make a living off of YouTube. But that always seemed to me like such a house of cards and such a not dependable, uh, you know, just not dependable. And I think we're definitely seeing that now, where these big channels who are suffering from this apocalypse, they're in serious trouble.
Absolutely.
Um, and there's been so much change, and it's grown so much, and I don't know if it's there's just been a lot. I mean, that meme is very much the truth. It seems like these days YouTube is almost trying to alienate and force out creators. I think really just about the only channels out there that I've heard that have not been affected by the adpocalypse is like the tech channels. Even like
Right.
even like there was somebody commented on one of my videos and they were like, I do a craft channel. I make arts and crafts, and all my videos are being flagged as being, inappropriate or not ad friendly. And all I do is crafts, arts and crafts projects. So I mean, the thing with YouTube is that there's no rhyme or reason behind what they do. They seem to constantly be making a decision that doesn't benefit the creator, which, and I've said this before too, YouTube is a content distribution platform. Without creators, it has nothing. There's nothing. Without content, they have nothing. Without us, they have nothing. So why are you trying to run us off? Not just small channels, but big channels. And the thing about the apocalypse now that's so painful for channels, my size and your size, it's not really the monetization, because I mean, let's face it, unless you've got, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and you're getting tens of thousands of views per video, and you're putting out at least a video a day, you're just not making any kind of real money. The thing that really hurts a smaller channel like us because of this apocalypse, and the thing that I've noticed in my channel, is a marked decline since I've become not ad friendly, a marked decline in sub growth and views, because the channels and the content, even after it's been deemed monetizable, it still has code in the video that shows that it's not advertiser friendly or whatever. And so that content is not showing up in YouTube searches. That content is not showing up on the sidebar. It's not being recommended to viewers, like on the sidebar of other videos or on the YouTube front, homepage. There was a great video. Oh man, what was that channel? They actually went into the like HTML, and they found all this code in not advertiser friendly videos, all these numbers, and they were able to determine, like, this number means this and this number means that, like foul language or hateful content, or whatever. Every number represented something that could be considered not advertiser friendly. And even after the video had been reviewed and remonetized, it still carried that code. And so it's sort of being suppressed in the YouTube search or the YouTube recommended areas because it's still being considered not ad friendly. So that's something that I've noticed. And that's something that's very, can be very harmful to a smaller channel, is, growth. And when you are limiting that growth, or suppressing that content so that you can't grow, that's where it really hurts a channel like mine or like yours or like a whole lot of people's.
Right. And I'm glad you brought up, because that's not even something I honestly thought about, was the sidebar with it not showing videos up on the side. And that is crucial, because I mean, that's how I can tell you right now, that's how I found your channel. That's how majority of the hard people's channels that I find that I usually stick to, that's probably one of the most important tools. It's kind of like the handoff to, hey, check this person out. And that's not even something I've thought about. So that's really a shame that, it's coming down to this. So
Yeah. And just because you talk about a horror movie, doesn't mean that the video is not advertiser friendly. I mean, I don't know. They're claiming that they're going to hire on more people, actual living, breathing people, to help do these reviews and to help it's called the machine learning algorithm, or the Yes, it's machine learning. It's freaking, it's Skynet running YouTube. To help that machine learning algorithm become smarter so that it can recognize, okay, this person may be talking about a horror movie, but they're they're not using foul language, they're not using you know racy photographs, they're not, what I mean, just stuff
Right.
like that, because they've showed that the algorithm analyzes everything. It analyzes the words that you speak, it analyzes your thumbnail, it supposedly analyzes like what is going on in the video. um, so it analyzes every part of the video, yet at the same time it's like, how is it deeming, even videos that I did where they're not horror movie related are considered not advertiser friendly, and I'm wondering
Wow.
what's up. There's just no rhyme or reason to anything.
Yeah, and that's what's so scary about all this. It's just, and we have nothing we can really do about it. Is what's really just the bummer
Well,
about the whole thing.
and what was, there, YouTube is so enormous. When VidMe came out, I was kind of like, okay, well, VidMe can be kind of the, VidMe will never compete with YouTube, but VidMe could be a place where VidMe could become a growing community and be an alternative to YouTube. A content, a place that actually cares about the content and the content creators. And it seemed like just around the time that they started to grow and grow and grow, they're like, okay, we're done. We're going out of business.
Oh,
Yeah. So it was odd because there were a lot of, bigger YouTube channels who'd made that jump over to VidMe, and they were uploading on YouTube and VidMe at the same time. Um, but I don't know. VidMe just couldn't make it happen, I guess. But even if the alternative is a much smaller alternative, I mean, it's good to have that alternative to diversify, and at the same time, if there is competition, and I mean, VidMe would have had to have grown substantially before it would have even been anywhere on YouTube or Google's radar. But if it had, I mean, competition benefits the consumer, in
right.
which case is us.
Absolutely. And then it may would have made YouTube better, but I guess we'll never know. They're kind of like the
Exactly.
WWE at this point, you know.
That was my exact analogy. VidMe is the TNA,
Right.
and YouTube
Absolutely.
is the
Absolutely.
WWE. Yeah.
So, okay, so here's what I want to get to next. As a horror fan, you know, a lot of us try to do conventions. I know you go to conventions. I go to conventions. I would like to know yours, and this is really a question for me, not necessarily the viewers, but I want to know what's your best experience and what's
Mm.
your worst experience, because you never know what some of these people are like on certain days. I know Tom Savini is one, Corey Feldman is another. So I'd love to get your stories on that, your best and worst.
Oh, that's I love talking about conventions. I get asked a lot about conventions from people who've never been. Have you ever been to a convention? You've been to a convention, haven't you?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I have one. I have one near me. I go to once a year.
Okay, cool. But I get a lot of people who'll message me and say, "What's the conventions, 101? What's the convention survival guide?"
Right,
um, oh gosh, I've been to so many at this point. I can safely say that I've had far more positive experiences than negative. But one thing that I do tell people is, um, you know, at the end of the day, the celebrities are just people themselves, and that they have issues just like everybody else. I mean, they're not, I you mentioned Corey Feldman. I met Corey Feldman at one convention. He was super cool, very friendly, shake your hands, God bless you, blah, blah, blah. The next convention, shake your hand with a glove on, didn't even look at you, didn't even say a word to you. So, I mean, it was, I guess he had a good day on, that day, and he had a bad day on the other day, Um, but another thing that I tell people is be professional. And I expect that of the celebrities too, because if they were on a movie set Doesn't matter. You're jet lagged, you're hungover, you just found out that your girlfriend's cheating on you with your best friend. Between action and cut, you're a professional. When I
Right.
walk up to your table and hand you money, that's action. When I walk away, that's cut. Be professional from action to cut. And then when I walk away, then be a dick. You know what I mean? Then be pissed
Absolutely.
off. But while I'm paying for your time, be a professional. Um, I think the best experience I ever had, the one that jumps to mind is Gunnar Hansen telling me that I'd be a great Leatherface. That was like, for
Wow.
me, yeah, for me that was like, etch that on my tombstone. Gunnar Hansen told me I'd make a great Leatherface. Um,
Because you're a tall guy, huh? You're at least 6 foot, right?
I'm 6'4". I'm 6'4".
Wow. You
Yeah,
would make a good Leatherface.
I was a little bit, I was bigger than Gunnar. And that was a great moment. I've had so many great moments though. I mean, like even at Horror Hound weekend in, when was that? November. That was in November. Um, all weekend. I mean, that was a fantastic show. A lot of really cool celebrities. Got to hang out a lot with Eric Freeman and talk to him. And um, yeah, the Friday the 13th Part 5 people were all just amazing. Really good show. Um, I've had a lot of really, I think a lot of the most positive experiences that I've had is like meeting people from the show, meeting people at the shows who know me from YouTube or that I know from YouTube. Like, yeah, I hung out with Barry at a couple of different shows, Barry from Endurance Productions, my buddy Garrett who does WrestleManiacs. Let's see, who else have I met? I met James DVD Collector 1974 at Horror Hound.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's always interesting too when, like, I'll bump into somebody there who knows me from YouTube and they're like, oh hey, I bumped into one of the funniest was I'd bumped into a guy at a show and he looked over at me and then he looked up and his mouth was wide open. He goes, Pizowell? And I said, yeah. He goes, you're big. I was like, yeah.
Oh
um,
my God.
Um, so yeah, and I've I've ran into people in public who know me from YouTube, and that's an
Really?
odd occurrence too. I was in a bookstore one time, and I looked over, like I felt eyes on me, and I kind of looked over, and there was a guy like looking over one of the stacks, like looking at me. And when he saw me looking, he kind of looked away. And I thought, I wonder if he knows me from YouTube. And then like I looked around again and he's doing the same thing. And then he looks away. About a minute later, like I feel a presence beside me. And I look over and it's the guy and he's like, are you Pizowell? Like, yeah. He's like, oh man, I love your channel, dude. So that was those are pretty cool. But I mean, yeah, they're yeah, it again, that I mean that reminds me of the reach. Negative experiences at conventions. There was an entire convention that was overall a negative experience, and that was Fright Night Film Fest 2012.
Okay.
That was Fright Night Film Fest used to be the biggest convention in Kentucky. They were huge. Um, and then they shot themselves in the foot because they were horribly organized, horribly managed.
Mm.
That one was a horrible experience because it was a huge show. There were a million people there. They had like half the cast of The Walking Dead. So of course there were tons of people there, horror people and non-horror people. And if you asked any of the staff anything, okay, what's this line lead to? I don't know. Where do I go to get this? I don't know. What time does this happen? I don't know. Every staff member is like they pull these people in off the street and put a shirt on them.
That's a shame.
Any staff member at a convention, the words I don't know should not be in their vocabulary. There was no organization, lines just going everywhere. It was horribly organized in that they would put you in a line to go wait in another line to be put in a third line.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. And then finally you could go in the room where the celebrities were and then stand in line to meet them. So I mean, it was, and I remember I messaged the guy on Facebook and I was like, dude, you've got, this is horrible. And he messaged back and he was like, I don't know what convention you're at, but everyone here is having an excellent time. And I responded, I was like, I don't know what convention you're at, dude, but I'm at your convention and everybody around me is having a horrible time. But basically that convention the following year really screwed up and just really, just, again, huge show. A lot of people showed up, no organization, completely mismanaged. And if that, even the celebrities there were like, you know, you guys should, they were,
Oh, that's not good. Maybe they'll listen if they're talking.
yeah. Well, at that point, it was kind of too late. Cause I mean, they still do Friday Night Film Fest now, but they are a shadow of what they used to be.
Oh,
That's probably my worst experience, just that show overall, because it just felt like it was just, you know, it was every man for themselves.
right.
You know?
Well, so after everything we've talked about with YouTube in general, the ups and downs of everything, you're nearing 10 years on YouTube. Am I right?
Let's see. Yeah. Well, I'd started my channel in 2007, but I didn't start uploading content until 2009. So yeah, it's getting close.
So my question for that is like, after everything with YouTube, the ups and downs, mostly downs, like at this point, what is your main drive? Like what drives you at this point now for doing this so long? And you're, to me, you're the guy, you're on the horse with the flag, because I've seen him come and unfortunately I've seen him go, not necessarily for just wanting to leave, but you seem like you've been one of the guys to stick with it the longest, and you're increasingly just got more and more, um, for lack of a better word, just more professional over the years with what you're doing, and it just keeps going up and up. So, what's the drive? What's the? Is there an ultimate goal?
No, there's never been a goal. I think I think that's probably one of the reasons why I've stuck around so long is because I just, you know, it was a hobby. It's still a hobby. That turned into a hobby that I could make a little bit of money from, which is always good. But
Right.
it's always been, it's just always been fun. Um, it's always been, I I think I think too, in a way, I feel like I have a responsibility to keep movies like, you know, Black Christmas in people's minds, or to put a movie like Death Dream in people's heads. Um, I don't know. It's just always been fun for me. I think the only goal, I mean, I kind of at the when I hit 8,000 subscribers, I was like, I really want 10. 10 is a good number. That'd be really cool. You know, that's, I guess that's maybe like a goal now, is I when to see 10,000. I think that's a really good number. But no, I mean, it's always just been fun. And at some point I decided to take it more seriously and try to, you know, improve video quality and audio quality, and, you know, do some editing and, you know, lighting, um, you know, to be a little bit more professional. And I think, you know, I go back and I look at some of those reviews I did, you know, in 2009 or something, and I just like cringe. But you know, I don't know, there was an honesty there. There was a kind of honesty. I think that's the best word. It was raw, but it was honest, and it was from the heart. And I think it's still definitely, you know, from the heart. It's just, it's fun, and you know, it's those awesome comments and those awesome messages that I get from people from all over the world who tell me how much what I do means to them. And I'm always, again, just, you know, I just thought of one there. I got a message from a guy the other day who said, you know, I don't have a whole lot of good things in my life right now, but I count your channel as one of the good things. It's like, wow.
That's incredible, man. It really is.
Yeah. So, I mean, stuff like that is definitely what keeps me going, and I mean, I love horror movies. I love movies in general, but I mean, I bleed for horror movies. So as long as there's horror movies, I want to, as long as I can, I have breath and, I can, sit in front of a camera and talk about a movie, that's what I just plan on doing. And I love doing it, and I'm very appreciative of the people who appreciate that I do that.
Okay, well, that really leads me to my last question. And, this is for anybody out there listening right now who might have a YouTube channel. And like Pizowell said, he had a channel for 2 years before he ever uploaded anything. My last question, and I might reword this differently now that we've talked. My last question is, what would you tell if you could travel back in time to Pizowell 2009? What would you tell him?
Gosh, that's a good question. I would say, dude, avoid Rob Zombie's Halloween. That is going to be the most depressing movie going experience of your life. So just avoid that. You'll never.
I know somebody in particular that's really close to me that's getting mad at you right
now. No. Let's see. I don't know. I mean, I guess I would say I don't know. I probably wouldn't say anything because I mean, I think it's those videos that helped me get to where I am today. And even though they're cringy to look back on, like you said, I mean, I look back on them and then I look at today and I go, I've gotten better. I've gotten better, and my content's gotten better, and so I don't know if I would. I guess I would probably just say keep at it, because there was one point where I stopped uploading for about 6 months, and I wonder sometimes, like, what if I had not done that? Where would I be now? Would I have 10,000 subscribers now? Because a stagnant channel is kind of a dead channel, So in
now.
that 6 months or however long it was, I mean, I may have lost, 200 subscribers, 300 subscribers. I don't know, but I don't know. I think that might be the only advice I would give myself is to like put down the Call of Duty and make some videos. I think that's what I think I was obsessed with Call of Duty that for about a 6-month period of my life, and all I could do was play Call of Duty. And and if I could offer any advice to anybody out there who has a YouTube channel, but they're not uploading content, but they want to, and I've shared this with a lot of people, is to just be you and be honest and be real. Don't worry about low views. Don't worry about low subscribers or subscriber count. If you put out there content that is real, that is honest, that is from the heart, people will find it eventually. And, because really, I mean, it's kind of, like with over on the Sausage Factory, which you're familiar with the Sausage Factory, right?
Absolutely.
It's like, the people tune in for us, not necessarily the topic. It's like, they tune in for us. It's like people watch your videos for you, I think, more so than necessarily what the video is about. Now, granted, that can change. I mean, I notice when I talk about Friday the 13th if I'm doing a Friday the 13th video, I definitely have a lot more views than just a random video. But, just be you, be real, be honest, and people will find you.
Absolutely. And this is something I would like to bring up, and it's not necessarily advice, but there's something like about you I can say that I enjoyed was, if somebody came up to me and was asking me, like, I got a buddy who's got a YouTube channel now, and, and other people that I talk to that have channels, some of them want to, like, I don't know that it's just necessary to go out and get all the expensive cameras and get all the nice lighting and stuff and get all this. There's something nice about with your channel and my channel to a certain extent, but mostly your channel where you see the evolution of it and you kind of we like I felt like with your channel, I felt like I kind of grew with you and I saw your transformation. And there's something about that that's organic that you can't get from just certain people. And I don't want to name any names because it's not a knock, but there's certain people that, you know, they start out with the extravagant thumbnails and the extravagant editing and the lighting and stuff. There's something organic about something that you did where there's like an evolution. And I think that's why, especially for me, that's one reason I stuck with you, because I saw like the natural you and the way you changed over time.
Mm.
So it's not necessarily an advice for something anybody, but that's just something that I can say about your channel that I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
To this day still enjoy.
yeah, and I would
would
second that
second
by
that by
saying
saying
that
that
um, you know, the fancy editing, the fancy equipment, you know what I mean? Worry about that later. Worry, you know, in the beginning, get comfortable just being you in front of a camera. And, you know, I have the utmost respect for anybody who gets on a forum like YouTube, who sits down in front of a camera and gives their opinion to the internet, because you're opening yourself up to a lot of good, but a lot of bad too. So, I mean, I have the utmost respect for anybody who will sit in front of a camera, give their opinion on something like a movie, and post it on the internet, and be proud of it and be, you know, give their open and honest opinion, because it's, you know, the internet isn't the nicest place sometimes. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I have a lot of respect for people who,
That's awesome.
who do that.
Well, Pizzow, like I said, we didn't want to keep you too long. We know you're a busy man. I want to thank you. I mean, this is for my viewers. But like I said, my viewers are your viewers. So this was really for me. You know, it's been nice being able to talk to you. And is there any closing words you want to say to the people out there?
Oh no, I think we pretty much covered it, I think. But thank you for the invitation. Yeah, it was you know, it was cool taking a walk down memory lane. And yeah, very good questions. And I hope again, I'm sure a lot of your viewers are my viewers too. I was checking the live chat and I saw a lot of, you know, pretty familiar names. And so yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. And yeah, it's very cool.
Yep. For the people watching live, I do appreciate you, and all the people that watch us afterwards. This has been a candid and very open interview with the one and only Pizzow, and the guy needs no introduction. You know where to find him. So, Piz, I want to say thank you again, man, and I want you to have a great rest of the week, and I'm sure I'll see you soon on YouTube.
Thanks, you too, man. Have a good holiday season and a Merry Christmas.
All right, man. See ya.
Thanks, man.